Hello and welcome. Welcome back if you've been here before. Doing tarot in the dark. I didn't think I was going to do a reading today because the energies from the super full moon have been intense and I've been super exhausted, and it was really difficult to channel and speak. Mercury is also retrograde, so technology and communication is an issue. I've been having my phone do a lot of glitches, different platforms and things just not working. So I wasn't going to do a reading. And then I was crocheting, just chilling. And the urge comes when the reading wants to be read. When the universe wants you to do a reading, then the urge will not leave you. So that might be a message for someone, that when there are things that we really are meant to be doing, going towards, the urge will not leave you. And if you ignore that urge, you start having heartache, depression, sadness, anger, frustration. So follow that urge and ignore the excuses. So in South Africa, where I am, we have load shedding, so that's scheduled power outages. So when the urge came up, I was like, the power's out, I'll wait for it to go back on. And my children are still running around and being crazy. So there's lots of noise. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do the reading now. But the urge kept bugging me. And I was actually watching a crocheting tutorial. And the lady in the video was saying that she was really envisioning her channel to be so neat and so pristine and clean, her setup and how she does her videos, but she realized that real life happens, and more and more so we are called to be authentic. That's my thoughts. And she was just like, okay, so if my cat comes in and does this thing, or her partner starts the washing machine, she's just going to continue with the video. And I was like, okay, universe, you're nudging me to do this reading, because I was making up those excuses in my head as to why not to do this reading. And I was already sensing energies, and I was trying to ignore it because I've been so exhausted. And I don't even know if I need the cards for this, because I feel like it's like the universe wants to chat and wants me to share. And I feel like all of us are being called to share our experiences, share our emotions, share our creativity, share, make someone else smile or laugh, or give someone some wisdom, or be a support for someone in some way. We are all meant to be doing that, whether you're doing it online on social media, or with your family, or the person you pass on the street. We are meant to be sharing our energy with people. Mercury retrograde. So my guides are wanting me to share that if you know about Mercury retrograde, you all go, oh gosh, it's going to be so bad. But none of these planetary transits have to be bad. It can get uncomfortable when we are not aware of it, or we don't know how to work with it, and that takes time and practice. I mean, you can listen to videos and people talk about these things, but you have to sort of find your groove with everything. And just start paying attention so that your intuition kicks in. And we don't really need to do these videos, and you don't really need to listen to gurus and things. It's helpful, even the tarot readers, watch other tarot readers, but it's not meant to become a crutch. I didn't know I was going to say that, and I didn't actually look at the cards yet until now. It's not nothing is meant to be a crutch. Not your partner, not your job, not food, not Netflix, not even the healthy habits we have. Like if you jog for your fitness, it can become a crutch where you use that and distract yourself from other things in your life. So nothing is meant to become a crutch. But in terms of Mercury retrograde, um, there's usually technological and communication issues. And when the planets retrograde, it is an illusion of them moving backwards, but they're just slowing down in relation to other planets and us, Earth. So it looks like they're moving backwards, like when you're in a car and you're at the red light and you look down and the car next to you moves. I've had this experience. The car next to you moves just a little bit and it feels like you're moving. Like, and then I have to check if my brake is on. So there's an illusion. So it's an illusion when it looks like things are going wrong or bad. But everything works symbiotically and synchronistically in the world. So, for instance, I'll give some real life. I feel like being more authentic instead of those very making your voice all professional and formal and making everything look perfect. There's something that gets lost in the translation. So, real life experience, there are certain administrative things that I've been trying to get done. And the websites that I've needed to access somehow just glitch. Like they'll send me off to another link or it'll give me an error message and it just isn't working. And the universe knows things, or your higher self, that you can't see, and it's completely frustrating to me because there are certain things that I need to get done, and my ego and my human psyche is like, I need to get these done so that I can get this and I can get that. But the universe also knew that there was going to be a blue moon that was coming up and all these retrogrades and all the solar activity and the Schumann resonance, and it knew that it was going to take a toll on my body because I'm extremely sensitive to energies. And if all those things are working and I'm getting money in and I'm getting invites to places and there are things to do, it's hard for me to shut off and just rest and not go and do those things. So not getting those things done left me with nothing really to do but rest. And the universe knew that, and I resisted it to the point where I was so exhausted that you can't even sleep, but you're exhausted. So the universe is always gifting us in ways that we can't always understand. And so during Mercury retrograde, if your car breaks down and you're meant to go on a work trip or on a holiday, maybe you're not supposed to go right now. And sometimes our ego will say, see, it went wrong. Things always go wrong for me and things never work out for me, when it could be protection or redirection. When with the retrogrades, it's asking us to slow down so that we can see the little bumps in the road or the pothole, metaphorically, the things that we might not have seen if we were going, like, you're so used to the route to work, you drive at a certain speed and it's almost automatic, and you just, sometimes you get there and you're like, how did I get here? I don't remember actually driving, because you go into autopilot. And these retrograde periods help us to stop and smell the roses. My shirt says that today. Stop and smell the roses. Take care. Synchronicities. It helps us to enjoy the little things, like, playing with my boys in a more connected way. I mean, I play with them every day, but sometimes I'm thinking about what am I cooking for supper in the back of my mind while I'm playing with them. And if there's nothing else happening, I get to connect with them, or even myself, so much deeper. but it also gives us an opportunity for downloads and universal insights and higher awareness and levels of understanding to things that we understood, maybe even not on a surface level, that we thought we understood really well, but then you get another perspective and the picture is bigger. So retrogrades are a period to just pay attention. The more you try to rush ahead and get things done, the more frustrated you'll get. And if you've set certain intentions for things that you want to manifest, the universe wants to, like your GPS, give you the quickest, easiest route there. And if anything happens suddenly on the route where you're going, it's going to redirect you. But we tend to have a fixed path in our head. I'm going this way, I'm going to do it at this speed, I'm going to do it like this. And then we can get a lot of internal turmoil when we try to do that. And especially now when things are changing so rapidly, in such a way that we can't fathom how things need to play out. We can set intentions, yes, and often our intentions is not, it's not even from our human self, it's from our soul. Our soul plants within us a seed of desire for something, because that is going to synchronistically manifest something that works along with many other things in this world. And then I lost my train of thought. So yeah, we can't be so set on things because we are learning to live in a different way and manifest in a different way, in a healthier way. We're going into the age of Aquarius in ways that we have never lived before. And that's what evolution is about. It's about us doing things so much more differently, but not in the sense that, okay, say we have AI now. We know, as the human collective, when new technologies come along, we can go so far off the path with this new technologies, whether it's like way back in the agricultural time when, say, tractors were invented or whatever, and then we start over farming the land and forgetting how sacred it is, and over consuming, and money becomes the biggest driving force. We go off on that tangent with so many things. Our phones, where yes, it's connected us in so many ways. We can now have interactions with people all across the world and learn so much more in a more authentic way. But if we get stuck on our phones all the time and ignore the things and the people around us, or feel disconnected, or even when we connect in person with people, we lose that sense of how to interact, reading body language and feeling energy and really listening and physical touch, all those things. We can go off on a tangent with everything. So these retrograde periods really help us to reflect, rethink, redo, renew, revitalize. Chris Rick posted something earlier about retrograde periods is for whatever, renovating. um, yeah, renovating our lives metaphorically, or things in the physical, revisiting the past. There might be a lot of past things that are coming up. And then with this card suddenly sticking out to me, I feel like some of the things that might have been coming up during this full moon was whether you're conscious of it or not. And often we aren't, and you sort of need someone to translate, to decipher the energies. I can often do it more easily for others than I can for myself. But it's like, where in your life have you been lacking? And that doesn't have to be material or monetary, financially. Like for some it is. And on a global scale, I feel like there's a lot of awareness about poverty in this world, and how much of the population is living in poverty. and but also, where are we poor in spirit and poor in love and lacking in connection, lacking in community, um, fulfillment in our jobs? So somewhere there might have been things like this coming up for you, and it can be very specific. And sometimes the energies require us to really dive deep. And shadow work is great for that. Tarot readings are great for that. If you want a more specific reading, the details will be in the description box below. It's really helpful. I mean, you can even, if you've got a counselor, a psychologist, a group, a support group, a friend, someone that you can, bounce things off of, that is subjective yet insightful, and can hold space in a way that you can talk it out and get it out, but so you can hear yourself. But they can also give you constructive feedback or not, and just give you space. It's really, really helpful for everyone to have some space, some person that can provide them that way. It's someone's shoulder, someone's ear, that helps you to work through your things in a safe space, but not so that it's projecting or codependent or toxic. So yeah, that might be some of the things that have been coming up, but there's lots of physical, tangible change happening. So when there's loss and lack, it means things are changing and that they will balance out. And this is a gift from the universe. If you are in the spiritual community, and even if you're not, even if you're religious, there is a lot that the rest card at the bottom, there's a lot of ways to see energies, dark and light, good and evil. And there's a lot of talk about what certain groups, elites, government, dark energies and entities, what they are doing. But ultimately, at some level of consciousness, the dark and the light is one. And where there is great evil, there will be great good. And yeah, it's something that type of consciousness is difficult to explain. I don't know if there is a language for it, but when we go through really dark and difficult things, we have to validate the experience, and you have to be able to honestly say, this is the ugly, this is the bad, but there's also good that can come from it or be created from it. So energy can be transmuted, it can be transformed into something positive. And positive, again, isn't necessarily good or bad. But I'm not going to dive into that in this video. But it's really important to be resting and meditating, praying, at the moment, because there is so much that is happening, and I say it a lot. But we are shifting our consciousness, from being completely in our masculine energy and chasing and striving and doing and struggling, to being and creating from energy. So it's like we are shedding the internal belief systems that create this reality that we are in, that requires us. Like, most of us do not want to struggle and strive and do and chase anymore, because that in itself can be a codependent relationship where you get a hit off of, even if it's positive accomplishments. And if you're not now breaking records or collecting accolades, or you don't get the dopamine hit, and then life feels like, what's the point? And slowly we are finding ways of being fulfilled by just being who and what we are, and still evolving at the same time. There's stuff about contracts, whether that's physical contracts, but soul contracts coming up. I don't want to make this reading too long, and we have 5 cards that just popped up. The Hangman, the Knight of Wands, the 6 of Pentacles, the 5 of Cups, and the Strength card. So I'm feeling like, let me just put them back in order. Sometimes we need to make sacrifices to be able to see things from a new perspective, for things to balance out. I'm hearing we can't live anymore. I feel like the whole world, all the systems that are in place, the financial systems, the political systems, the whatever, I'm hearing stealing from Peter to pay Paul. It's kind of how we're living. You know, we are existing as if there is finite resources in the world, and that's just how we have structured this reality. That's not how it necessarily is or has to be, but we have caught ourselves up in the system that we didn't, mostly subconsciously created, or was created for us, and we subconsciously bought into it. And it's like the pie is like this, and now we're just fighting over this piece of pie, and I'm giving it to you, and you give, like, we're shifting away from creating in that way, just consuming basically, and shifting it around, and it's yours and it's mine, and who has more and who has less, and it I feel like at this point it just feels so draining to all of us to exist in that way. Yeah, we are consciously on some level, and subconsciously just shifting into a different way of being. But there's this urge to rush forward and take action, and that's just because I think we are all at different places, but there's an inspiration, as our frequency and our consciousness raises, and the earth's vibration and frequency raises. There's this feeling, this energy of taking inspired action, but you're not yet sure which way to go. And even if you do know which way to go, there's still some grieving the past, our emotions, getting over the experiences that we have to do. So you can't necessarily get to the new manifestations quickly, because there's still such a lot of emotional attachment to the old way of being, your old you, your old life. The Strength card. We are needing to still sort of tame that inner beast. It's almost like the old version of who we were is more instinctual, more, I'm not finding the words, competitive. Here we go. Thank you, universe. Whether we're competing with ourselves, the next person, it's there's this competitive energy where we can all shine and we can all win, not in the paradigm of the way we have been existing, but from a different consciousness. And we are getting there, and we have to pace ourselves, because it's not a race. Time is shifting, how we perceive time, because if you don't have a boss telling you you need to do this by this time or else, then time doesn't matter so much when it comes to work. and then there can be more energy into the quality of what you're doing and pouring love into it and how it makes you feel. And in that way, it translates to how whoever uses that service, that product, comes across your work, they will feel that same energy from you. Energy is becoming the currency, and time is not becoming a restriction but a tool. I feel like there's so much more that can be said about this, but these channelings take a lot of energy, and we don't, in some, on some level, we don't really need to know these things. Um, we don't really need to predict things and preempt things. The universe will guide us to when we do need it. But mostly that is just to make ourselves feel better and not get too stressed and anxious and not sabotage and not run away or not change things when we are on a path that has already played out in some perception, or that is right even when it doesn't feel right. And it brings us all back to trust again. Trust in the divine order of things. And as usual, at the end of a reading, I don't really remember what I channeled and spoke about, but I hope something landed for you. I never tried to sell getting personal readings and even just my work or what I'm doing, because I feel like people should trust themselves, their guidance, their intuition, that internal nudge. But if you are interested in a personal reading, the details is below. And I hope I'll see you. Join me again in another video.